Steve, thanks for joining us. Today was billed as a massive six-pointer against Gosport. It went against us. So what do you think of the game? Was it a fair result, and where does it leave us now?
Yeah, it was a fair result. We got what we deserved today, nothing. Again, I could say, listen, it wasn't through lack of effort, but ultimately when you're, listen, we got 6 or 7 missing, we know that, but I say that every time I'm interviewed. But when you've continually told the same players the same thing again and again and again, and they still don't want to do it, that's what you get. And if you look at today, we've conceded from a set piece again, and you work on everything in training, you organise, you tell people to pick up, and every week someone seems to switch off. We've done it again on the first goal. He's standing in the middle of the box on his own. We've told him to get the ball forward as quickly as we can. We've told him to put crosses in the box. How many of them did you see today? 2 or 3 poor crosses. Second half, we told him again, get it wide, get it early, get it forward early. And that's not just kicking it anywhere, it's getting it into people's feet or get it into channel areas. 4 or 5 times second half, we're 1-0 down, we're getting the ball 10 yards into their box, we've ended up going back to Jacob. I ain't told them to do that. I fed up with coming in here, keep sticking up for players and saying, oh, they've worked hard, they've done this, they've got good attitude. But how many times you tell someone to do the same thing and they still don't want to do it, I don't know. And it was the same again today. I thought we started poorly. It looked a bit nervous. 2 million of them didn't want the ball. After that, we was okay towards the end of the second half, and I thought second half we started to get to the game and we looked dangerous. But you can look dangerous, but if you're not prepared to pass forward, put crosses in the box, get strikes away, I couldn't play any goal for them today.
Yeah, you've kind of touched upon my next question there in terms of we disappointed with the kind of the lack of creativity and clear-cut chances. I think the only ones that we can really remember were where Chukwu was really unlucky in the first half. Obviously that's hit the post, it could have gone anywhere, you know, and you want that to hit the post and go in, it's come out and gone to safety. And the only one we can really remember from the second half was a James Ewington header that was kind of easily dealt with by the keeper. So I don't know if you remember anything else, but we kind of disappointed with the lack of creativity and lack of clear-cut chances in what was a must-win game.
Yeah, massively. And once the players cross the line and you've asked them to do certain things, the game's in their hands. Yeah, you can make changes from the side, you can give instruction, but ultimately it's down to the players at times to take. Listen, I take responsibility for everything. Results, good ones, bad ones, not so good ones. But you can only work so hard, you can only tell people the same thing so many times. But the disappointing thing is, even in other games where we've struggled or we might have won or we've drawn, we've always created chances, we've always looked dangerous on the break, and then the last three games we haven't. And sometimes that's a little bit of bravery. Someone having a gamble, someone trying to beat someone, trying to get a strike away, putting the ball in the box. It's the same things you tell them again and again and again. But I just felt at times we always wait for someone else to do it. And when you haven't got key people like George Moore missing and 1 or 2 others who will come up and do that, you can't keep relying on one person all the time. So many others have got to step in and come on board. And they didn't do that today. And ultimately, you got what you deserved. That's a massive, massive game. And we've left ourselves almost an impossible mountain to climb. You've probably got to win 5 games minimum to give yourself a chance. We just lost 3 on the spin. And conceded a load of goals and not scoring. It's a difficult one because it's been a tough week. It's been a tough few weeks with results, but we're doing everything we can to get the boys going. But at the minute they're not doing what they're asked to do. And as a manager, there's nothing more frustrating. If you keep saying to someone, "This is what I want you to do," and you don't do it, yeah, the obvious answer is to pull them in and put someone else out. That's great when you've got a massive squad. And even when we made the changes today, I mentioned to you about the changes. Some people might question the changes we made. We did all 3 at once. Isaiah was great to have him back today, but it's his first game back. If you play for 90 minutes, he probably does his hamstring again. He's out for the season. So we went on sort of the medical advice on that, and that was right. Bill was struggling to get in the luck game a little bit, so we thought we'd go get 2 wide boys on, 4-4-2, go forward. That was the instruction, get the ball. Didn't do it. Didn't do it at all. And that's the thing as a manager that drives you mad. And I could stay here all day and keep saying the same thing, but too many people don't want to take instruction on, and they make their own decisions. And the problem is their decisions at times have cost us, and they've cost us again today. It wasn't good enough.
The first goal was crucial, and then once they got it, how they managed the game.
Well, that's the difference when you have experienced players, and they did manage the game properly. And the first goal was a key goal, because if you get that, they're chasing the game. But we maybe we do lack experience in the team, certainly with the likes of James Taylor, Sean Preddy, George Moore not out there, and you do lack experience. And they managed the game well and sat in deep, difficult to get in behind them. And they did what they did, but that's what good players do, and they did that today, and we couldn't find a way to get around. If I look at the last 3 games, they've been very, very similar, albeit slightly different scores, but we played well at Plymouth for an hour. They scored the first goal. Bracknell, I thought we was good the other night. They scored the first goal, and today they got the first goal, and we couldn't get back into the game after that. And I think we've lacked some quality across the park for obvious reasons. But when players get an opportunity, they've got to take it, and they ain't taken it. And today, listen, I'm repeating myself, but we weren't good enough today. We got exactly what we deserved.
To finish, similar question to the other night, really. Again, how do you pick the players up from today to go again? We got Dorchester at home on Tuesday. Similar question to after Bracknell the other night. How do you pick the players up and to go again on Tuesday? In a couple of days' time.
Well, I think a big part of the players got to take responsibility and need to pick themselves up. We'll do everything we can, but if you continually keep going into the players and saying we need this, we need that, and then they don't do it, sometimes as a player, you got to look in the mirror. Was I good enough today? Did I do what I was asked to do? Was I committed enough in both boxes? The answer to probably 3 of them was no for some. Listen, 1 or 2 of them were good today, but 1 or 2 of them ain't good enough. You've got to play collectively as a team out there, not in individuals, and play good football for 5 minutes and then not for the next 5, and then do what you want for the next 5. And it's they didn't have any thread about their play today. It was off the cuff, and that's not to do with how we cope, because we're asked to play a certain way. If we didn't say anything and they did, then fair enough. But I think sometimes as a player, you've got to go home, you've got to have a look at your own performance. Did I do enough today? And you've got to pick yourself up. And I've just questioned them in the changing room about that. What reaction will we get Tuesday night? Because you need a reaction. Yeah, we'll make changes, we'll do what we need to do. But obviously we're limited. But you're asking your players to show a little bit more desire, a little bit more character. They're too nice half the time on the pitch. Great group of lads, but great group of lads at the minute that are losing. And I include myself in that. It's not me and them, we're in it together. When we win, we are, and when we lose, we are. But I said to them in the change room before the game, as a player, you're not under pressure. Because if you win today, everyone says, "Oh, well, you've done." If you lose, I'll probably get the blame, which is fine. That's my job. I'm a manager. But they didn't rise to that enough, and we'll see what reaction we get from Tuesday. But it's got to be better than that. They know that.
Steve, thank you as always for your time. See you on Tuesday. Thank you.
Cheers, gents.